Hari Om. So, namaste to both of you. It's wonderful to have you here this evening. You are coming all the way from Hawaii, almost the other end of the globe. So, it's always a pleasure to have you in my home, Ramdas. And today we have another friend as your disciple who is joining us. So let us begin this conversation, which I believe is going to be on the topic of the newly consecrated Ram Mandir in Ayodhya.
Yep.
So, please put your first question.
Okay, thank you. So, Bharatji, first of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk to you about this and to get your understanding. It's very, very important to me. So, I know, and let's start in the 1940s when there was a claim that two murtis of Ramji, and I guess a murti of Ramji and maybe someone else was found inside the mosque.
Yeah.
And the British, I guess, locked it up and didn't let anybody in.
No, this...
So tell us a little bit about that history.
Well, you see, the appearance of Ramlala,
Yes.
or the child Ram, this was at a much later stage.
Okay.
This is when India was independent.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember exactly the date, but it was sometimes in the early
Post-independent.
50s.
Yeah.
And Jawaharlal wanted it removed. But
Now, was the mosque functioning at that time?
well, the mosque was never functioning. The mosque had always been just almost an abandoned structure, but sometimes people did namaz in it, and it was under occupation of some waqf, etc. But when the Ramlala appeared, let's keep it quote unquote appeared,
Yeah.
then Jawaharlal wanted it removed. But the public opinion was such that it could not happen. So
The murtis removed.
the murti stayed there.
So there was one murti or two?
I think it was Ramlala who was
Okay,
there.
just one murti.
Yeah. But you see, what is important is something different. What is important is that ever since the original temple at this site was demolished and a mosque built,
Yep.
there was a contest for it from the Hindu devotees. Now, you know it for a fact, although the Islamic hardcore people, they always deny this, that there were thousands and thousands of temples which were either desecrated or demolished,
Yeah.
and mosques were built on them. But this was very significant and special because this was traditionally considered to be the birthplace of Ram. So, ever since the original temple was destroyed and Mir Baki made this mosque in the 16th century, Hindus contested it. And there are various stages of the protest or reclaiming portions of the land or reclaiming portions of the mosque itself. And that was a long history. Now, all that is very well recorded, and there are books on it, not one, but many, many, and you can go through them. The basic fact is that in independent India, there was no thought that some of the vital temples, which are the birthplace of a Vishnu,
An avatar.
or a consecrated place of Shiva, should be reclaimed. You see, you contrast it with, let us say, what happened in Greece. Now the whole Western world simply doesn't acknowledge the fact that something like this happened in Athens, Greece. You go to Parthenon, the temple of Athena in Athens. You see that as the fundamental, the greatest and the grandest monument of Greek culture. And what do you have there today?
Nothing. Just
Not,
the pillars.
Yes, you don't have a statue installed there.
Yeah.
You don't have worship going on. But what you do have there is a national endeavor. A national endeavor.
Yeah.
Which started in 1920, more than 100 years ago, of restoring the ancient temple. And the Greeks, of course, have sued and won a case against the British of bringing back the Elgin marbles. In short, the Greeks are going to make Parthenon as Parthenon again. And one day will come when they will reinstall Athena also. Because the Greeks, they reconstruct their temples.
Yeah.
When they see parts of it, they know how to make the whole, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Now, at Parthenon, the Christians constructed a church around 4th century. The church stayed there for several hundred years. Then, when the Islamic Turkish government came to occupy Greece, then a mosque was built. Now, all this was removed by the Greeks themselves. And this process began around 1920. And now in that country, where the majority of the people are either Orthodox Christians or are atheists or whatever religious belief, at least where there is not a single worshipper of Zeus or Athena or Demetra or any of the ancient gods, in that country, they are building their temples, reconstructing them as part of their cultural history.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up. But when the whole issue of reclaiming a Hindu temple comes up in India, then the whole Western world, all your intellectuals of Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, Berkeley, etc., they deny the Muslim destruction of Hindu temples.
Yeah.
They deny the Hindu right to reclaim their temples. Isn't that a great shame? Isn't that outright double standards? They never told the Greeks not to build the Parthenon temple, not to pull down the mosque or the church. But this controversy that the Babari Masjid made on the site of the birthplace of Rama should not have been removed. This is something which has been injected into the minds of a whole section of Indian population, especially the Muslims, by the Western media, by the Western intellectuals, particularly the left Marxist or Gramsci intellectuals. So you see this is the real crux. The Western world, the Christian world, the non-Greek do not have the courage to criticize, condemn the reconversion of the Hagia Sophia into a mosque by Erdogan. I think he did it just 3 years ago. If you remember in 1925 or so, the Hagia Sophia, which had been earlier converted into a mosque
Yes.
by the Turks when they occupied Greece, which is now Turkey, that portion, was a little later made into a museum and no worship was done.
This is 1925 about?
I think so, around
Okay.
that time or maybe later. I'm not
Okay.
sure of the dates. Anyway,
Sure.
dates are not that important here.
Yeah.
But now Erdogan has made it again into a mosque. And Europe and America are absolutely silent about it. They have conceded.
Yeah.
They have given up their church and let Erdogan reconvert it into a mosque. They don't preach him secularism or equality of religious rights or any such thing. But to the Hindus, most of the European world would like to give a pompous sermon on not reclaiming the Hindu temples. See, this is the real crux. Which date was Ram Lalla installed or not installed, or did he appear through a divine intervention?
That's not
important.
Okay.
What is important that the Hindus have a right to reclaim their temples.
Good.
Out of thousands of temples, they have a right to reclaim at least a few hundred.
Yeah. No, very important. Yeah, what you're saying is very important.
So this is my take on Ram Temple, loud and clear.
Okay, so now let's go to the court case that finally was decided in favor of the Hindus, that gave the land to the Hindus.
Well, you see, this is a long history. But what is a court case? After all, everybody knew that there was a temple, and the temple had been made around 12th or 13th century. Archaeological survey through what is called, an instrument, I forget the name, which is able to investigate
Into the ground.
into the ground, even by not digging,
Yeah,
and give you what is inside.
yeah,
That all proves that there is a temple.
yeah,
Then archaeological excavations were done,
yeah,
I think around 2003 or 4 by B.B. Lal. And all those trenches dug there, they revealed that there was a Hindu temple there.
mhm,
Then inscriptions came out of the whole site mentioning that there is a Hindu temple. Now, Ram Mandir at Ayodhya is not a single incident
yeah,
of destroying a Hindu temple
yeah,
and making a mosque over it. The Muslims did it for a period of almost 1200 years in India. And they did it to thousands of places. So what is the big deal about making a question about the birthplace of Rama or the birthplace of Krishna in Mathura or the Kashi temple? Now, regarding the Kashi temple in
Kashi.
in Banaras, all the official records are available. we know on which date and when Aurangzeb ordered the demolition and how it happened, and it's very well known. And if you go to that site, you can see that there is a temple standing there, on the top of which a dome has been made, and the area has been converted into mosque.
When did that happen? That was under Aurangzeb?
I don't remember the dates exactly, but this is, I think sometimes in 1664 or something like that.
So when did the Shiva temple, when did it become a Shiva temple again?
It hasn't.
Well, no, I mean, we've all been to Kashi Vishwanath.
No, Kashi Vishwanath
Yeah.
is a temple which is at a slight distance
Oh.
from the original temple.
Got it. Okay.
And the Hindus have been contested and reconstructing the Kashi Vishwanath temple. The temple destroyed by Aurangzeb is one of the temples of Kashi Vishwanath.
Got it.
This process had been going on for almost 400 years.
Yeah.
You see, when the Muslims controlled North India and established the Delhi Sultanate, it's almost 3 to 4 times that the Kashi Vishwanath was demolished. So, the particular Gyanavapi temple,
Mm-hmm.
which was the temple destroyed by Aurangzeb,
Mm-hmm.
still stands as a half temple with a mosque on the top.
Wow.
And there are dozens of such
Yeah.
places in India, not one, dozens and dozens.
Yeah. So let's get back to the Ramji temple. And the question that, I guess my central question is around, in the court case,
Yeah,
there were, I think, 3 or 4 parties involved.
right.
And the court gave, I think, 3 acres or 3.5 acres to some Hindu group, somebody. And that's what I'm curious about. Did the court give it to? Which of those 3 groups? I know the land was divided. Do you remember what that?
No. You see, in 2010,
Yeah.
the Allahabad High Court gave a verdict
Yeah.
in which it divided the land between 3 parties.
Yes. And who were they?
There was Nirmohi Akhada,
Okay.
and
And the Nirmohi Akada was the Ramanandi Nirmohi Akada.
well, probably yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And then the claimants of the Ram Lala, and then the Muslim Waqf Board.
And
which
who
had
were the
claimed.
claimants of the Ram Lala? Who is
Well,
that?
it was done individually by somebody,
Okay.
but it represented the Hindu.
The
the
represented
Hindu,
Ramji.
Ramji, or Hindu
Yeah.
aspirations, or Hindu devotees.
Yeah.
But that was not accepted
Mm.
by the large Hindu population. So they went into appeal into the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, after reviewing the whole thing, gave the total land to the government to construct a temple, to make a trust and construct a Hindu temple.
And then the Muslims were given land someplace else.
The Muslims were given a piece of land a few miles away, although there is no justification
Yeah.
for giving them land.
Yeah.
You see, but as a matter of political concession, even the Supreme Court succumbed to that. Otherwise, where is the justification of giving a piece of land to Muslims to make their mosque?
Yeah. After all, they had stolen the land.
After all, they had stolen the Hindu land.
Yeah.
They had demolished the temple.
Yeah.
They had taken possession of somebody else's property. So there was no need to compensate them.
So the land was not given to the Nirmohi Akada. It was given.
No,
it was given to
it was given to a trust. which was to be managed by the government.
And it's like 3.5 acres or something like that?
I don't know exactly.
Okay, but the whole piece that was in contestation, all of that was given to this trust?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see, it's a complicated thing because the government can acquire land around that area also and make it bigger. You see, the legalities and the whose possession it is not the real thing. The real thing is that you know that a temple existed,
Yeah,
that it was demolished, and now that it has been restored.
yeah,
So it is the legal process is just a quasi battle.
yeah.
It's just a battle for show in order to fill your modern legal books.
So,
Civilizationally talking, every Hindu temple which has been demolished has to be reclaimed. And Hindus have a moral, spiritual, legal right to claim it,
yeah.
to reclaim it. That's all.
Now, I'm pretty sure the Nirmal...
If there is clear evidence for that.
Sure. Now, because Ayodhya is a Ram Bhakti center, the Ramananda Sampradaya dominates there. And I think that party to the claim, one of the three, the Nirmohikar, I'm pretty sure that's Ramanandi, right? However, what happened when the Ramlala was installed, it was Modi who was doing the puja. Who was, I mean, he was, what is the name? There's a name when a puja is done and there is somebody who is participating besides
Yajman.
Yajman. So Modi, why was Modi the Yajman?
Oh, you mean why was Modi as Yajman?
Yes.
Okay, now look, the process is that there has to be a Yajman. Every Hindu ritual needs a Yajman. Yajman means one who is doing a yajna
Yeah.
or is doing the ritual.
Yeah.
Along with the Yajman, there are his friends, there are his family, there may be even the head of the state along with it.
Yeah.
So there was somebody, I don't know his name, a couple who was the Yajman.
Oh, it wasn't just Modi.
No.
Okay.
So Modi is technically speaking.
Because he's the one that did all the ritual.
No. The rituals were done by the Yajman, his wife, and Modi was witnessing it and also doing some of the offerings.
Well, because when I saw it on the video,
Oh, yes.
they'd only showed Modi doing it.
Well, showing Modi.
Okay.
Now you can understand that that is a very different issue.
Yeah, that's a political issue.
That's a political issue. But technically, it is the Yajman. Now, for instance, I know this whole thing because I and my wife Yukti, we have done a Pran Pratishtha.
Yeah.
It takes about 7 to 8 hours. And then certain things have to be done a day before also.
Yeah.
So we went through all that.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, it can take 2 or 3 days.
Yes, it does. It does all that.
Yeah.
And the Yajman does it.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody else participates and you invite everybody and many people to participate.
Yeah.
If the camera shows those who are participating more than me, who is the Yajman, then it is not the fault of the ritual.
Yeah.
This is just how, this is the way the world goes. This is the way power politics plays.
Yeah.
So obviously, Modi sits there, not only Modi, RSS head, Bhagwat,
but
he also sits there. And there were 1 or 2 other important people who were politically significant or swamis.
But the pujaris
Yeah.
were Shaivite pujaris. You could tell by their tilak.
What is it? Say that again.
The pujaris were
Yeah.
Shaivite. They weren't Ramanandi pujaris. They were Shaivite pujaris. Their tilak showed that.
Well, they may be Shaivite. So
Actually, I think they were Goraknath because of Yogi Adityanath.
no, I can understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
And what the controversy is. This is where the modern confusion comes in. And I think this is where we have to understand that how tradition is being altered
Yeah.
and how it is being met to the present need.
Mm-hmm.
For all these thousands of years, any temple would be initiated by a particular sampradaya.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a denomination is the wrong word because that's used in the Christian church.
Yeah.
But there would be a group of people
A
worshipping in
sampradaya.
a certain way
Yeah.
called sampradaya
Yeah.
who would initiate a temple, build the temple,
Yeah.
manage the temple,
Yeah.
do the puja according to the temples,
And isn't
and do the rituals according to the tradition of that sampradaya.
and that was the Nirmohi Akara who sought to do that.
No, that's not true. You see, let me just finish about what is the tradition.
Sure. Go ahead.
This is how it was done. But for the last 200 to 300 years,
Mm-hmm.
and even earlier, many changes do happen. You see, Nirmohi Akhada undoubtedly has one great place in that 500 years old battle
Yeah.
which took place in reclaiming the land.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm pretty sure the head of the
Nirmohi Akhada is one of the major,
yeah.
and they occupied it, they protected it,
Yeah.
they kept it alive, and they kept the fire burning to reclaim it.
Now the from what I think I'm speculating on that. Okay, let me just
Yeah.
I'm speculating on this that Choti Chawani, which is an ashram,
Huh?
Choti Chawani is a very important Ramanandi ashram in Ayodhya ji.
Yeah.
And the Mahant is Kosho Kishore Das.
Mhm.
And Kosho Kishore Das is now in his 80s, his late 80s. He's been a Mahant since he was 27 years old. I spoke with him in 2016 and I asked him about the building of the mandir at that time. He said it's going to happen. This is before the court case was decided. He said it's going to happen. He says, I've been working on this most of my life. So I think that was the Nirmohi Akara. They weren't a part of it. Kosho Kishore Das wasn't even in the room when the puja was going on. They had him sitting outside.
Oh yes, yes. You see, the role of Nirmohi Akhada
Mhm.
was undoubtedly very significant in that long battle.
Yeah,
But then they were not the only one
yeah,
who were part of the battle. You see, the part of the battle consisted of many sections of people,
yeah.
including even some congressmen.
Mhm.
One of the major legislators of Muradabad called Daudeyal Khanna,
Okay.
he was one of the biggest fighters for this cause. Then the VHP,
Yeah,
then openly or unopenly or sometimes openly, this Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh.
yeah, RSS.
Then thousands of other people.
Yeah.
Then intellectuals, writers, people who were writing about the history, people who were helping the archaeological survey to discover what was inside there.
Yeah.
People who went and gave evidence in court, like Ramachandra Nagaswamy, who gave evidence for 25 hours,
Wow.
showing the iconography of the temple underneath,